Here it's KD the one. I'm here with another D Zam video. You already know this is gonna be a different video because I haven't really posted him for, in a second, but I know I have another one of his videos up here. This is the Preds that society loves, and I'm not gonna lie. I've been waiting for someone to make a video recently about something like this that society like think about it. We arresting people like Diddy and all them niggas for the shit that they did, but there's a lot of people that we still deify to this day because over the shit that they did a long time ago. And I know we can't bring up the past, but think about it. If we sitting here arresting Diddy for shit he done in the past, all that shit, then we could bring other lights to the past. But ain't that much to say on that. I say let's get into the video because I want to know who he talking about. All I seen, if you don't know who this nigga is right here, I ain't even gonna lie. Me personally, a nigga who lives under a rock, even I know who that shiny neck ass nigga is. Let's get into the video.
Excuse us. Good job, Chris. Happy birthday, my guy. Yeah, excuse me, sir.
Crowds of females following this nigga. Crowds, bro.
Being a celebrity at that level has to be such a crazy experience, because imagine that many people following you around, trying to prey on your wealth and success, doing anything they can to attract you, but at the same time none of it being genuine. That clip you just saw was of Chris Brown either going to or leaving an event and being followed by a multitude of fangirls, women, groupies, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, there's a few niggas in that shit too.
Strip club is where we going, bro. This guy crazy. Yeah.
What you saw in that clip was LeBron James going down an escalator that's going up. And he did all that to avoid these groupies. These ladies have no shame whatsoever. And keep in mind, LeBron James and Savannah James' marriage is as public as it gets. They know that this is a happily married man with kids and they're still pursuing him like this. So imagine what they're doing to the young, fresh, newly millionaire young men who are just hitting the scene. The athletes, the musicians, the actors, whatever field it may be, especially when it's a field where you have a public image, you're at high risk of falling prey to these type of tricks. And just to give you another example of how desperate some of these women can be, watch this clip.
See, this is why I have my public dating thing. Because like think about it on like the YouTubers and all that shit, like perspective. You have this public relationship that you constantly post on, or you have a private relationship that you constantly post on. Now people are seeing you with such and such, and now they're wondering why you doing that to your partner. They saying they're like, oh, I wouldn't do that to my partner, or like such and such. Like it just goes down a rabbit hole where they'll end up bringing your partner into it. Now, when it comes to shit like this, on a person that you would never meet before, I understand fangirling out and all that shit. But a person you never met before, some of these people will go down bad, terribly, disgustingly, just so they could like do one thing. And it won't even be like nothing normal. Like these niggas would like sit here, bend over in front of. I'm like, damn, would y'all do that to a random nigga on the street? Like, shit weird.
Yeah, that's where the relationship would have ended. And look, obviously this isn't every lady out there who's a fan of a guy with some status. I'm not saying that at all. But a lot of these ladies will act super fanned out about these celebrities. But at the end of the day, all they see them as is a check. And even in a situation where, let's say, one of these celebrity guys actually takes a liking to one of these girls, if they're ever in a situation where they could stand to gain some profit or, you know, some financial gain, they're more than likely gonna go with that route. And I don't think you guys understand how aggressive these ladies are. It got to the point where you got artists like Drake pouring hot sauce inside their used glizzy wrapper. This dude was literally afraid that the girl would go inside the trash can and find a way to insert the magic fluid inside herself. Do you know the experiences you have to go through for you to even start thinking like that? That man was acting off straight PTSD.
And the funny part is, he got someone with that shit. The thing is, people don't do these things for like just a reason. Like, again, when it comes to these females saying here flirting for these guys, it's all because they want the check or they want some type of relationship because they had a parasocial relationship trying to make it personal. Like again, like, I hear so many females like these my man when it comes to celebrities. Like again, these are men that would never ever see you a day in their life. And if you are a type of big thinker like me that wants to go up and think you will see some of these people, think about it. If you really gonna build up your like your career, your financial self, just to ruin it, to spend 1 second with that person, it's not worth it. That person is not worth it.
Like, I'm pretty sure Drake has seen a lot of crazy stuff, especially when dealing with these girls. And if you want another example to really be convinced, we have the Omale situation. If you don't know who Omale is, he's an African musician, and he had this concert where this girl who was with her boyfriend basically left her boyfriend to get on stage with Omale. And what proceeded to go down was kind of crazy. Watch as Shorty tries to throw it back on dude and then he swerves past her.
Like I said, most of these niggas not worth it. They ain't willing to risk their career over you. And some of these niggas, they probably would fuck. Like Drake in the situation. But if you're not meeting his criteria, you're not under 18. nah, let's cut it. But if you're not really meeting their criteria, they're not gonna see you because there's so many options that they can get. Now, even when it comes to this, like a guy could pick you up on the stage because he sees you as a dedicated fan. The second he see you try to be freaky, if he's not on that type of shit, you gonna swerve your ass, embarrass your shit.
Do you know how embarrassing that is? Not only on her part, but on her man's part. So not only is she disloyal, but she's also getting curved.
Got embarrassed by that shit, he need whole new face. If my go out like that, I won't need no checks.
Bro's soul looks destroyed. I don't even know how he kept it together, because I personally would have crashed out. And now that you guys understand how desperate some of these women can get, I hope it also makes it easier to understand that some of these young millionaires can also be victims. A perfect example is the Xavier Worthy situation. Xavier Worthy is an NFL football player. So basically the story goes, around the time he was getting drafted into the NFL, he hired a private investigator to investigate his then girlfriend. He finds out that she's cheating, goes to his home, and finds her with the dude. And basically as he was trying to kick her out, she fakes assault, injures herself, and orchestrates a whole scene. I'm talking she wrecked the house to make it seem like he put hands on her, when in truth, she's the one who put hands on him. She even ripped out some of his dreadlocks. Bro went above and beyond with the proposal. She walking up all emotional. I wonder in that moment if the stuff she was doing behind his back was going through her head. Yeah, not gonna lie, this might be the sell of the century. And all this tells me is no matter how up you are, no matter how successful, no matter how many zeros you got in your bank account or how many things you've accomplished, if your girl is going, she's going, bro. And once she realized that she basically messed up her bag, that she lost her meal ticket and was exposed, claiming domestic abuse was basically her last ditch effort to get back at him. And that's why I'm not surprised. Shoot, I'm a little bit proud when these athletes do stuff like this.
He can do that. He's a kid who's very explosive. He'll take that big hit, hold on to the football, knows how to find the open area in that defense. Obviously, coming out of Oklahoma, they schemed to get him the football, so route running, what the transition.
Brief intermission. I'm trying to get to 100K subs, so I'd appreciate it if you like, comment, to these girls. At the end of the day, a girlfriend is just a title. Anyone could wake up any day and just decide not to be your girlfriend or boyfriend. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do the same thing in a marriage, but it's a little bit harder because now there's paperwork, property, possibly kids. Although the guy still has a lot more to lose, the wife could also stand to lose some things if the husband set up the contract in a way that protects him. And I also can't forget to mention the parents who look out for their kids, especially the mothers who do stuff like this.
The Titans get themselves a big tackle in Isaiah Wilson from Georgia. Came from Brooklyn Poly Prep Country Day. He need a little time to adapt to the heat and conditioning in the South, playing at Georgia, and now he'll...
A great example is Jaden Daniels' mom, and I do understand that a lot of people say that she does too much and that she's too controlling and that she might possibly have a weird relationship with her son. And look, I totally understand, but all I'm gonna say is at no point is he gonna stop being her baby boy. And when it comes down to it,
It don't matter how big you get. When it comes to your family, they gonna try to stay by you the most. Now, when it comes to these random people on the street, I know you gonna be trying to like sit here and grow your shit. You gonna like I'm thinking of it like this. If you start blowing up, anybody, if you thinking of this lifestyle, trying to blow up, trying to make something out of yourself, there's gonna be people who look at you, and there's gonna be people who, and even if you're not trying to blow up, I'm like in a real situation, there's gonna be people who look at you, try to catch your wave, and try to be on the same shit that you are, but really they not about it. They just sitting there trying to do what, like trying to get it from you because they don't want to put in the work.
I would much rather his mom being overprotective about him than him being played by some girl or getting into a situation that could possibly ruin his career. All I'm gonna say is LeVar Ball didn't make the Ball brothers through gentle, hands-off parenting. You gotta understand, with the parents of these athletes, they've invested a lot of time and effort into their kids to make them into the stars that they are. So I'll never blame them for being overprotective with their kids. That's literally their investment.
I've been training them boys since they've been 2 years old.
Okay, so even before that?
Before that.
Okay.
All my boys were potty trained before 10 months. I gave them the ghetto Olympics. What I mean by that, in the living room, I didn't have no couches and stuff. I had a table. Let them jump off the table and see if they can land on that mat without falling down. Very competitive at an early age.
Our thing is like, I want Jaden to date. I don't want everybody to say I'm putting it on record. My son can date. He can live freely, makes his own decisions. However, the relationship we have, he does value my opinion because, you know, when my kids were little, I did a lot for them. So, and my kids saw that. My father, my background, I worked too hard to allow anybody at any moment to come in and just, you know, take it away. So I have a view of what I feel a good person is. And, you know, but my son is 24 and he does have to go through things and he has to learn on his own.
You know, you were very honest about protecting him. You said predators, also protecting him from women who can be predators. And we've seen that all through sports. We see it after their careers. We see it in business.
And I don't put this in street terms. I don't mean to be disrespectful about what I'm about to say. But I took it as she said, this nigga's slow. This nigga's going to be, they going to get this nigga. So
That's because you took it that way. You took it as this nigga's slow. I took it as she's trying to protect him. And no matter what age, she gonna try to protect him. That's a real woman. That's a real mom. She's sitting here on some shit, trying to stand on her business, trying to make sure no one takes advantage of her kid. And even though, yes, he's old enough to make his own decisions, old enough to go through those experiences, it's easier to have people who will make sure you don't go over through those experiences, that you don't get fucked up, over than people who would just let you get fucked up so you can learn something. Like, those are real people in your life, people who are willing to help you before and after the situation.
So I got to stay by this nigga's side.
He doesn't know what he doesn't know, and he knows football because that's what he's been doing, and he does it very well. And he's been, you know, very acclimated in sports since he was young, but he doesn't know the business world. He doesn't know the predators or the vultures that could be out there, and so he feels very comfortable in knowing that not only am I educated and qualified.
Not only this, I'm gonna say this as like a young man. Your mother, I'm not gonna hold you. Your mother's not gonna stop seeing you as a baby. They never gonna see you as like you're fully ready, because they gonna want to protect you. They gonna want to, and when even in this situation, when she puts out this light that she don't think that he knows anything other than football, of course he knows other shit, of course. But in her mind, she wants to make sure that she could protect them financially, physically, mentally, make sure that no one fucks them over in this situation. And that's literally all I hear. I hate how like the internet always try to flip it to like different perspectives and shit.
to do it. I'm also his mom.
And you see, mothers like Regina are the same ones who prevent situations like the one that's going on with Anthony Edwards. Now, I don't mean to speak ill of Anthony Edwards' family because I know his mom passed away, but I'm sure if he had a strong female presence, a strong female relative in his life, she would have played a role in preventing him from getting multiple women pregnant and from getting a woman who has multiple children with other men and is known for her predatory practices pregnant. Keep in mind, this lady is significantly older than him.
I read comments that say, oh, you're a gold digger, or you kept the baby for a check. What if I came to y'all's pages, right? And I compared the men that you have children with to the men that I have children with. And I said, you were digging for poverty when you picked him to be your baby daddy, weren't you? Oh, you kept that baby for an extra income tax credit, didn't you? Or you kept that baby for a couple extra $100 in food stamps, didn't you? Or you kept that baby for an extra Section 8 voucher. Is that why you kept your baby? Now, if that was triggering, that's how I feel every time somebody says, do you even love that baby? You kept that baby for a check. Oh yeah, baby, I'm on one tonight. We gonna talk about it. Cause see, I sat back and I watched y'all in your dirty bonnets, lay back on your headboards, or in your cars with the cloth seats. I saw you. And you voiced your opinion about what you would have did if you were in my situation with my options that you do not have and you probably never will. How you gonna tell me what you would have did with my situation?
Real shit. This is what I was saying before. These are people you would never meet. And y'all sit here and talk about this shit like y'all fucking going crazy over like, oh, I would love that nigga. I would trade that nigga right here. Y'all don't know what happens behind closed doors. Y'all don't know how these people move. Y'all don't know why these people move this way. Yet y'all just want to like assume and shit. And how she put it. What if she wants to assume that you just kept the baby for a check? What if she want to assume you just kept the baby to keep some broke ass nigga in your life? It might be triggering to hear, but if y'all willing to say all that shit to her, then y'all gotta be willing to hear that shit back. That's all I see.
When you had a baby for your weed man, or you had a baby for that dude that be robbing everybody, or you had a baby for the booster, or you had a baby for the dude that you have to run down for $250. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Keep in mind, she didn't deny any allegations. She basically just told everyone, you're mad that you couldn't do what I did, huh? You can't be as pretty, you can't be in the same position to be able to take advantage of these young men. If that's not a sad existence, I don't know what is. And the saddest part about this whole situation is that they brought a baby into the world that neither of them really wanted. And the thing is, all this stuff is on the internet. So one of these days that baby's gonna grow up, see all this mess, and then realize, oh, my parents didn't actually want me. And Anthony Edwards made it super clear that he doesn't want anything to do with the kid, because he not only gave up custody, but he paid all 18 years of child support payments all at once. And I think a whole separate conversation in general needs to be had about older people going after much younger people. For example, the situation with Shannon Sharp and the spicy content creator Gabby Zuniga, like the timing seems a little bit strange, you know, just after he just signed a $100 million deal and all of a sudden she's claiming that he did something to her, especially when you consider the already overly freaky relationship that they had. I mean, she allegedly texted him, I want you to put a big black baby in me. Is that not crazy to say in the big 2025? And then on the other side, we got Tracy Ellis Ross claiming that she only likes younger men.
That often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because...
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a great dinner. We had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, but why? And I said, well, maybe because I can.
Yes, Harish. This is what I'm saying. Tales from Tracy's.
It's fun. It's very fun to share.
Tracy tales.
But
I'm sorry.
But one of the reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because I want a partner, and so often, and it's not just that I'm older. I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was
I to be fair, when it comes to people like her, people who grab their bag independently, people who got money and did all this shit themselves. Now, just because it's a female, that age difference really, like, I know a lot of people they'll say that it doesn't bother them. To me, it still kind of bothers me, cause like even like you're saying you're going after younger men. Now, if a guy was to say some shit like, "Oh, I would strictly go after younger females," I strictly go after younger females, and it's because they're fun as hell. But it's because I like because they're more easy to mold, they're more easy to succumb to the wifely duties and wifely roles. Like y'all sit here and look at Shannon Sharp for what he did, but this sounds like equal like footing to me. I'm not gonna hold you.
controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, or I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again.
And I mean, after watching that, I guess she might have some valid reasons. But at the same time, there's no way that there aren't any men her age who are attractive and also have a progressive mindset. And I also just want to call out the double standard, because imagine a man said something like this about younger women. I know bros getting bashed all over the internet. They're calling this man a creep, a freaky frog, all types of crazy stuff. And I mean, that's basically what they're doing to Shannon Sharp. But honestly, the way it's looking, that might be a topic that I have to make a whole separate video for. But to wrap up the video, I find it super sad that there are people who are willing to pretend like they care or that they love some of these young successful men just to take advantage of them. And it's crazy because once they get them where they want them, once they get that financially well-off person to like them or actually be interested in them, they'll do things like claim abuse or keep a baby that neither of them actually want just to have some sort of control over that person. And they always end up tarnishing their reputation and villainizing them online. A somewhat similar example of this is the DDG and Holly situation. And yes, I know Holly has her own money, but I feel like a lot of the stunts that she pulled were done with the intention of trying to control DDG. For example, when she went to Twitter and tweeted about how DDG has their son on Kai Cenat's stream. Even the way she worded that tweet was in a way to make DDG look bad. I don't approve of my baby being on stream tonight, and I am extremely upset to have my baby in front of millions of people. Keep in mind, she also posts their son on her social medias, which gets viewed by millions of people.
But everybody knows Moo is the best daddy to him, but I miss him so much.
Like, is he good with changing diapers and doing all that? And not that men can't, but you know.
No, he's such an amazing dad. It's literally the sweetest thing in the world. Because we've always... Oh yeah, I mean, he's a great dad, but I always knew that he would be like this, you know. We had talked about this before.
My bad. I've been hearing more about this Halle Berry situation. I wanted to make a full video on it, but then at the same time, I'm disinterested because it really just sounds like bullshit. Why are you still on some shit like she's a great dad? She's a great dad. I mean, he's a great dad. He's a great dad. Y'all not together. Like, the best thing you could say is he's doing great for the family. He's still being supportive. Again, I can't really gatekeep what anybody say, but like, it does sound like you still have feelings for him. But to go towards this situation for where y'all are, that just made it hella crazy. That's the main reason. I really can't say nothing on this situation. But to put it up on like Kai's and that stream, that's an experience your kid most likely is going to love. He's going to look back to. He's not going to hear about all the drama, the bullshit of how my parents were fighting and how they doing this, that, and the third. He's going to be like, oh, I was on Kai's and that stream, a big streamer. And that's all kids care about. Y'all realize like one day these kids are going to look at the internet and is going to see all this shit. Like, think of Northwest. I really feel for her because I feel like she's having to sit there through her father's controversy and through the bullshit of her mother, and she really don't have no light of her own to make her own name.
And yeah, that's just the type of person he is. So Halo is really, really lucky.
Not only did she praise the type of father he is, she also praised the type of person he is. So logically speaking, I don't know where this shift would come all of a sudden where he would just disregard his son's safety, when it would just no longer be his priority. And I also don't know how him being on a stream compromises that safety. Halo is literally all over her social media page, which gets millions of views. See him right there, see him right there, see him right there, right there. And I bet we'll see more of him if you scroll down. He's right there, right there. And then we got the news that came out a few days ago. Holly claims that DDG got physical with her and she put a restraining order on him. And now she's using the courts to limit how much he can see Halo, limiting him to 6 hours a week. And I know a lot of people always scream, believe the victim, but when you have stuff like the Amber Heard case, and you have stuff like Xavier Worthy's case, and I hate to bring this up, but Emmett Till's case, at some point we gotta learn to be a little bit more patient. For example, I've seen so many comment sections that said, oh, Holly already presented concrete evidence, that's why she got a restraining order. But I bet you guys never knew this.
Haley Bailey did not secure a restraining order against DDG. That is not what happened. A judge in LA granted her what is called a temporary protective order, which is an entirely different thing than an actual restraining order, and doesn't take nearly as much effort, time, or standard of proof as an actual restraining order. In my extensive research of finding out just what the process of acquiring a restraining order in the state of California is like, I came across a few things that were very interesting. First of all, you can't just file for a restraining order. You have to first file for a temporary restraining order, or a temporary protective order, as it's called sometimes. And those are fairly easy to get. In fact, usually within a 24-hour period, a judge takes on your case and decides if you're deserving of a temporary protective order. And the reason I said that they're fairly easy to obtain is because, one, the person being filed against doesn't even have to be present, so they're not an actual court proceeding. And two, the judge that grants the temporary restraining order doesn't have to be convinced beyond every reasonable doubt. Clear and convincing evidence is not required for a temporary restraining order, which is, as you can see, not as strict as the proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And you can see that's the case. If you look at the pictures that TMZ apparently acquired magically from the legal proceedings of this entire thing, these pictures aren't proof of beyond a reasonable doubt. They're only proof that Haley Bailey somehow, some way got hurt. There's no real way to prove that DDG was the one that inflicted all that damage. And by the way, as a quick side note, I'm being sarcastic about TMZ because I know for a fact that Rock Nation has used TMZ as a propaganda tool multiple times in the past. If you know, you know. But we'll talk about that later. Back to the main point. Now, the temporary restraining order, if it is granted by the judge, only lasts about 2 to 3 weeks, usually. And the reason it lasts only that long is because it's kind of a way to create some kind of a buffer, a separation between the two parties until a proper court hearing, where it would actually be determined with a higher standard of proof if a more permanent restraining order would be necessary going forward, which can last up to 5 years in some cases. So basically, in about 3 weeks from now, Haley has to be with DDG in court to prove to a judge that she actually does need that restraining order against DDG. And it'll be her lawyers, her defense team's job to make that case to the judge. And what do you know, after doing a little more digging, I found out that they do have a court date. It's June the 4th, which is about 3 weeks from now. So in conclusion, this whole thing is being blown way out of proportion. DDG is not in trouble at all. I'm not saying he's necessarily in a good place, but these are allegations at best. And a judge in LA granting a temporary restraining order to Haley Bailey is not proof that DDG actually did anything. Again, we have to remember, there's different standards of proof and evidence in the court of law. I did some more research and found out you could get a temporary restraining order based off of hearsay. No joke. Just get a couple of your buddies to say the same thing you're saying in writing or on audio, and boom, TRO. Now, as for my personal opinion, do I actually believe there was some kind of physical altercation between the two of them? Yeah. Do I think that the courts may find a way to separate the two from each other? Absolutely. But do I think that Haley Bailey and Rock Nation will get the court to see DDG as such a deplorable human being that she will be granted full custody of their kid? Absolutely not. And honestly, the reason for that is how restraining orders work, especially when there's a kid involved. Even if she's somehow able to prove to the court that DDG was violent against her, it doesn't show intent to harm the kid.
And look, I'm not by any means saying that you shouldn't believe the victim. I don't support any form of oppression. But it's innocent until proven guilty. You have to give both parties the benefit of the doubt. This guy isn't gonna go into hiding or something or, evade the American government. If he's in the wrong, he's gonna pay for what he did. But we as a society have to make sure that we have concrete evidence, especially when it comes to cases involving men. Because as a man, if your name is even anywhere close to something like this, you face irreparable damage. Even if you're proven innocent, you'll lose so many opportunities and a lot of people will never look at you the same. And that's just the sad reality. And I'm still shocked that people can see Holly say stuff like this and not think to question that there might be a deeper side to this, that there might be more nuance to this situation.
In a relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be.
Clap back or sit back. I always have to choose clap back. I'm sorry, I'm a very kind person, but if somebody pokes at me or the people that I love, it's over for you. I'm an Aries, sorry.
Never have I ever started drama with my boyfriend for no reason.
Put it down.
I've, I'm territorial. I'm a jealous girlfriend. I'm a territorial girlfriend. Where you go?
Let me just stop here. Yeah, this is the reason why I'm so disconnected about the DDG shit. It's just, to be fair, this looks like a dumb situation for a normal relationship that is over dramatized because these people are famous. Now, I know DDG has his fans, Haley got their fans, and no one wants to see the people that you sit here and idolize go down like that. But at the same time, like old dude said, there's evidence for both sides. We don't know their lives, like she said, and like one thing I do hate, I hate people who sit here and act a certain way and then be like, well, it's my star sign. No, that's annoying as fuck, man. That's annoying as fuck because that's just your characteristics. Your star sign don't got shit to do with it. If you want to be a shitty person, it's because you're a shitty person. That's it. It don't have shit to do with your star sign. And if y'all sitting here on some shit wondering what my star sign is, it's Virgo. So please, if that means something to you and means something to why I'm saying this, I really don't give a fuck. All I see in this situation is a dumb relationship that went blown out over proportion, and I don't really care who's right, who's wrong. As long as justice is served, I really don't give a fuck. Really, how I seen it, I thought this was gonna be another Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation. And if we have another one, oh well. I'm just gonna be like laughing my ass off when they make memes about this and you see the fucking clips about like how one of their careers have fallen even though nothing really happened to them. They're still up. If y'all wanna see more videos like this, like, comment, subscribe. The people who made it to the end, y'all the real ones, y'all already know. And really, if y'all feel something on this DDD situation, comment it down. Like, I'm not gonna lie, where I see this video, like like when they mean Pred, I really think they was talking about the people who over like work a situation just to get benefits out of it, even if they shouldn't. Like when it came to these predatory women, the people who would sit here and use these young men for a bag, or people who would do shit like that, or these predatory men who would go after people for a younger age. Same thing for women. Like that's what I think he meant for predatory. If y'all want to see more videos like this, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, yeah. I see y'all boys next time. Peace.